a way that I use to teach my kids how to write essays. Now, I think what happens is like people get really obsessed with like the intro, and they get really obsessed with how their essay should start, and having like a catcher at the beginning and all that stuff. And that thing is that's like basically your introduction, with the exception of the thesis being inside the introduction, is probably one of the most important parts of your essay, in my opinion. All the stuff that you need to be working on is right here in your body paragraphs. So this is kind of a quick way to kind of develop your essay and like build like a strong foundation so you can write an essay that actually proves your thesis. So here's an idea. Forget about the intro right here. We're going to write it. Don't look here. Okay. And then we're going to, down here is the conclusion. We don't care about the conclusion either. Okay, let's ignore those guys. Let's focus right here. This is what I want you to focus on. Now, your thesis is going to be the last thing we do in this first step. If that makes sense. So let's say that the prompt that your teacher gives you is like, prove why One Direction is one of the worst or one of the best bands of all time. So, so what I would do is I would have my student like write it up here. And it would like the prompt, because I'm real creative here. Hold on. We'll just move this away. And the prompt will say, why is 1D the worst or best band of all time? Right? So like that, so let's say that's the thing they give you. So you're going to think to yourself, well, obviously they're the best band of all time. Like, that's definitely the perspective you're going to take in your paper. So what you're going to do is you're going to first think about the body paragraphs, and you're going to think to yourself, okay, what am I trying to prove in my essay? Why do I believe that One Direction is the best band of all time? So maybe you want to start with a first point, and maybe you're only going to have 3 points in this essay, okay? So let's say the first reason is sincere friendships. Fuck. I don't know how to type. Sincere friendships, okay? Like that's it. Like, let's say that's your first idea. So we'll just leave that there. We're going to leave this here. Just forget about it. And now let's move on to point number 2. Okay, so why else do you think that they are the greatest band of all time? Let's say great voices, like butter, okay? In Harry's case, like toast. Ignore that. Sorry, I'm a horrible teacher. Okay, so now point number 3 is going to be your last body paragraph, which is paragraph number 4. And you're going to put your third point in there. So let's see. What's the third reason that One Direction is one of the greatest bands of all time? Here, it can get a little contentious. Like, you may not agree with me, but I'm going to put it because this is how I feel. And I'm going to put zany baby. Okay? Truthfully, I also think one of the reasons why it is because of Harry and Louis, but we won't get into that. Oh, my music stopped. Okay, oh well. Anyways, so now you have to realize that there are some differences between you having your points and then having the examples for your points, right? Because you can't prove anything without your examples. You can say very easily, and a lot of people who just like to argue, you notice, will do this. They'll just make really stupid blanket statements and be like, well, because of this and because of that, and like, I don't want to. Anyways, people will just say things but not give any examples for it, okay? But here you could put. Here, what you need to do is put examples. So how can you prove that their friendships are sincere? How can we do that? Like, what's an example? So here maybe we could put hang out with each other even if they don't need to, because they do that, and I always forget that that's on. Okay, So that there's one example. And now depending on how long your essay is going to be, like if it's just going to be a 5-paragraph essay, then you could leave it like this, right? You could probably just have one example. But maybe your essay is longer, or maybe, you know, this isn't as strong as in an example and you want to give another example. So you can do that. Well, as you get older and you get into like writing college essays, or even maybe like depending on, you know, how rigorous your high school classes are, you'll probably have to write longer than 5-paragraph essays, I'm sure, right? So you're going to have more examples to prove your points. So that would mean that this would be like probably another paragraph. Then you would break down your paragraphs by examples and not points, if that makes sense, because this is a point and this is a point and this is a point. These are all points, right? But these are examples. So you could start another paragraph after you elaborate on this example, okay? And then maybe like a specific examples you can put every direction or knows this. Sorry, most people hate that word, but I'm not really into the fandom culture. But maybe an example you put here is boat. Australia, and everybody knows what you're talking about, right? Okay, so that's one example. So let's give another example of sincere friendships. Let's say that they have a natural chemistry. So nothing is forced, you know, and maybe you could, for here, maybe you want to elaborate and say, oh, like, you know, stage, how they play around on stage. Okay, not splay. That sounds like it's something dirty. Okay, so sincere friendships, and then your point 1 is sincere friendships, and then your example is, I believe, you know. So you would say something like, when you would start this paragraph, you would say something like, one example of One Direction being the greatest band of all. Not one example. You would say, One Direction. I believe One Direction is one of the greatest bands of all time because they have great, sincere friendships. One example of this is hanging out with each other even when they don't need to. Exhibit 1, boat, Australia, and then you would talk more about that, right? And then you would go on to this. And then depending on how many sentences you used here for this point is if you would go into another paragraph or not. So, and then this would become irrelevant, and you would just keep writing. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes? Good? Okay, we're all on the same page. Alright, so now let's go. This is fucking taking forever. Okay, so now let's talk about point number 2. We said great voices like butter. And here you could give them examples of a cappella. It shouldn't be in bold. A cappella, and then you point to that one time on the red carpet where they sang, what was that song? Some fucking Christmas song. I don't remember. Some Christmas song, and they just vibed in that moment, and it was beautiful. And I curled up and died a little inside when I saw that, and then came alive again, better than before. So that would be like, this would be your example to this point. Okay, so you would say, for example, they have great voices, and this one time they did this a cappella, and apparently I didn't spell a cappella right. Okay, well, whatever, I don't really care. Okay, what did that? My computer's on my lap and it's getting fucking hot. Okay. Alright, so, and here you might want to say just like their voices live. And here you can probably give examples of people who've said they've got great voices. So there was I don't even know, probably him. Wait, no, he's dead. Paul McCartney. Somebody's not a Beatles fan. Paul McCartney. Okay. Who else has said they've got great voices and that they're talented? Elton John, right? And so you would give examples of like music greats who have the credit to make such statements boldly and have it be considered truth. When you're doing research papers, you could replace these people with actual scholars, right? And that would be something like you go into Google Scholar and you would look up articles and books that support the point that you're trying to make with examples. Okay? Okay. Now, paragraph number 4 and point number 3 would be Zany Baby because he's perfect. And Zany Baby's voice is amazing. So that would be my first example. No, that was wrong. Why did I do that? There might be some editing that I won't do. Okay. So Zany Baby. So let's say he has a great voice. So I think that he has one of the... in my opinion, Zayn has the best voice in the band. And I think he has the best voice, but then for some reason I like Harry's more, but whatever, that's complicated. Much like my entire relationship with them. Because it's really one-sided, you know? Like, they don't tweet me. It's, like, rude. Anyways, so Zany Baby would be your point. You don't want to write Zany Baby in your paragraph. You know, these are like, you're writing professionally, so you would maybe just write Zayn Malik and be really boring. Not Malik. That's okay. Anyway, so he has a great voice, and then you could say he's smart. Not that the other boys are stupid, but you could say that he's smart. And he says really insightful things. Like this is, I don't know when he said something smart, but you will give an example of like an insightful quote or something from an interview. Okay. Now, it doesn't have to be really, really detailed because this is just the starting ground, okay? And the third point, just because I love him oh so much, I'm going to put here that he's creative. And so, like, maybe I can put, you know, he has other talents and interests, and that would be art, you know. All right, that's good. All right, so it would be something like that. Okay, so now that you have your point 1, sincere friendships, examples are hanging out with each other even when they don't need to, and they have the natural chemistry. That's evident in playing around on stage. Your second point is they have great voices. In a professional essay, you would probably not put something like that. And then you would say a cappella is an example, and their voices live are great, and, you know, music greats such as these two have said that. Point number 3, Zayn Malik has got a great voice, he's smart, and he's creative, okay? So, we still got this big guy up here, right? But now what we have is a foundation for our essay. So now, you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, I can say this and this and this about it, and then you can even elaborate. This parenthesis doesn't have to stop on one line. Like, this shit could go, look at that, oh, look at that, look, it goes forever. So, you know, if you want to keep expanding, and if your essay needs to be really long, then you would do that. Then you would write more, okay? And as you write more essays and you get into the swing of that, then it's going to be easier for you to elaborate. For me personally, I was a history major, and I learned to bullshit like 10-page papers in one night. I don't recommend it. I pulled it off because apparently I've got a bit of a genius streak. I don't. Anyways, so you have point 1, point 2, point 3. Now, this is the part where it's going to be really easy for you to make a thesis. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to, like, make your essay... It's going to make your essay basic. It's not, it's like it's going to meet the requirements that your professor or your teacher has, but it's not going to make your essay, like, creatively really great, or it's not going to make your essay, like, necessarily fun to read unless you go back and refine it in the end, okay? So, this is what I do now for my thesis. So I think about the few words that that I could probably summarize my points with, okay? So, actually, you know what? No. So basically what you would do is you would just say here, yeah, you've got your thesis, so you would say, I believe that One Direction is the best band of all time because they maintain sincere friendships among one another, have great voices, and are home to one of the most amazing and talented, amazing is such a, one of the most talented singers, Zayn Malik. Now, of course, this is just like a fun essay that I'm just doing for you guys right now. You'll obviously have to have a, you know, a point. Maybe, maybe you don't want to use Zayn Malik. Maybe here you would put, I don't know, like a third reason for that why One Direction one of the greatest bands of all time. You could say that they work hard, right? And then here you could put fucking, what is it, 3 albums in 3 years or some shit? 3 albums and I don't even know. Hold on. Up All Night, Take Me Home, Another Coming Out with Midnight Memories. So 3 albums in, I don't know, 3 to 4 years. Constantly on the road. Why did this go bold? Constantly on the road. And this is actually a good example of what could happen when you're working, as you think when you're making your thesis, you're like, I don't think that's, you know, a good point. So then you could just easily go back and change it. And then you would write, they work hard, they're constantly on the road. And yeah, whatever, that's good enough, okay? And so then you would say here, have great voices and are hard workers dedicated to their craft. Okay, something like that. And then automatically your thesis is already proven by these boxes. So you don't even have to worry. Like, never again will your teacher ever tell you you didn't prove your thesis. No, because you proved your thesis first and then you made a thesis. You proved your thesis first and then you made a thesis. Does that make sense? So let's go over this one more time. I don't even know if this is recording anymore. So let's say the prompt that is given to you, if you, for some reason you have the most amazing teacher alive, and they ask you, why is Wendy the worst or best man of all time? You ignore the introduction. You go here, right here, and you think of your first point. Sincere friendships, okay, example 1, example 2. Point 2, why are they great? Okay, point 2, great voices. Then you give an example. Acapella on red carpet that time when they sing the Christmas song and they fucking burn shit alive. That was amazing. That's your example. Another example, music greats have called their voices great. And then your third point is 3 albums in 3 to 4 years. That's freaking crazy. And then they're constantly on the road and they're touring and they're doing promo interviews. So you'll see that, like, when you go through this with yourself, just like I did right now, you'll notice that you'll be able to, like, elaborate more when you think about it more and go over it more, right? Just naturally, of course. Now that you have this done, you write your thesis, you plug things in, you kind of add, like, phrases here and there to make it flow well, and then you're done. You have your essay. This is your essay right now. And this essay, if you had to write it and you did, you know, without grammar mistakes and things like that, in general, you would get at least an 85%, which is really good. But if you're the type of person that aims high, then you would write this, you know, in an engaging way, and maybe your examples are more sound than mine are. Okay, but I'm just giving you guys an example right now. So, after you've written this, you will have so much in your head that this will come easy. And your conch will come easy too. Trust me. One other tip that I can give you is, after you've written your body paragraphs, I want you to, like, go and take, like, a 15-minute break. And come back and then write your thesis, or come back or take your thesis. Just take a break. That's what I'm saying. Take a break and then come back, and you'll be able to edit and find, like, silly mistakes easier with fresh eyes. And that's it. That's how you write an essay. See that? And then, as I said earlier, if you want, you can elaborate more on this and you can give more examples. Like, fucking Neri's always fucking golfing together, you know? Like, you just give more examples. Here you could put Zayn Malik's voice, you know, Harry's vocal changes. Like, there's so many examples that you can give. You just, and that will make your points strongly proven. And then you probably will have more than one paragraph, because you don't want to put this all in one paragraph. That's just a hot mess. All right. So you would then, instead of dividing by points, you divide by examples. And this is it. Thank you for watching. Okay, so now you can look here and then you can type up your introduction. And then worry about the exciting beginning of your essay after you've done all of this and you've written it out. Okay? Let me know if you guys want this. I just fucking made this in 3 minutes. But if you guys want this very high-tech document, I can send it to you. Just send me a message on Tumblr. All right. Bye. Bye-bye, babies.